So my name is Miriam Smith, and I'm filling in for Brian for this month. I live in Massachusetts. I'm a Pathwork helper and teacher. And I also work with energy, and that's part of the work that I do with the Pathwork. And I'm looking forward to being with you today. Let's do an attunement. So let's come together and take a moment to notice who is here today. To take each other in. To connect with each other. So imagine that you're sitting in a circle with each other, and you may not know who is sitting next to you. You can close your eyes if you want to. Reach out your left hand to the person on your left, with your palm facing up. And you are receiving a golden thread of connection from someone on your left. It passes through your heart. And breathe. Your right hand faces down, giving the golden connecting thread to someone on the right. A golden thread of love, of light, of life, of oneness. Let it flow around the circle. Breathe in life. Exhale what is not needed. Again, breathe in and exhale what is not needed. You can release your hands and come into presence. Welcome everybody. Hello Beth. Hello Sheila. So let's just do a go around for me so that I know where you guys are coming from. So would you just say your name and where you're from, please?
Frank, Richmond, Virginia.
I'm Beth, and I'm from Andover, Massachusetts.
You're from Andover?
Yeah.
You're my neighbor. I'm North Andover.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh wow. That's really interesting.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I could probably walk to you.
Oh, we should talk.
Yes.
Oh.
My name is Saida, and I'm from Denmark.
You're from?
From Denmark, city of Copenhagen.
Yes, I remember you. Yes. Thank you.
I'm Sheila from Northern Virginia.
Thank you.
I'm Bill in Charlottesville, Central Virginia.
I'm Skylar. I'm from Blacksburg, Virginia.
I'm Sandy from Minneapolis.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's see. So I'm understanding that this is a somewhat loose hour and a half. In other words, we're here to connect and share what's going on with us. So let's do a check-in. You know, what do you want to share? What would you like to share? What's happening for you today? How are you doing with this season that's coming up?
I'll start. I'm feeling really excited about life at the moment. After a rather long period of not being excited about life. And I'm hesitating to say too much about what my plans are, because I sometimes find that if I tell people what I intend to do, I somehow become less likely to do it. There's something about as if actually expressing it somehow makes me feel inwardly as if I've already done it. So I'm just not going to say, I think, what my plans are, but I have some plans that I'm excited about. And right now life feels good. That's all I've got to say for now.
Thank you, Sheila.
Well, I'll speak up. This is Bill. I'm in a fairly peaceful place today. I went through quite a whipsaw of emotions after the election earlier this month, from a lot of anger to a lot of fear, a lot of despair. And maybe it's having done some path work, maybe it's having done some other inner work, I don't know. But I finally just got to a place of when Miriam, you said, let go of what's not needed. I did a men's retreat in September, which was partly about that, like what's left when I shed all my identities, all my, masks, all my ideals, what's left? And the week after the election, my wife and I went to a Bruce Cockburn concert. And he's a singer-songwriter who's been around for 50 plus years. And he's older than me, and he got out there. He hobbled out on stage with two canes, and then played his heart out for 2 hours. And behind him was this banner, like musicians hang on the wall behind them. And it was this sun image with a disc and rays coming out, and colors would play over it. And as I'm listening to the concert, which was powerful in itself, I just got this hit like, oh, well, in theory, I have a radiant core. So maybe that's what's left. And it was almost like the election was like an intense core energetic session. Like, let's just strip away all your beliefs and all your ideals and all your hopes for the Republic and get rid of all that. And then what's left? So I won't say I'm grateful for the election results, but I have been able to use the experience to just be more, more committed to being in my core and just seeing if that will do. So yeah, so I've the last few weeks have been a process like that. So I'm complete.
Yeah, there is. It's a funny.
I think we
Better
lost
than
her.
the other, and not in this. Excitement.
Miriam, you're cutting out.
Yeah, your
Oh.
video is
Kind of
and your
freezing
audio is
up there.
freezing up, Miriam.
We can't
Okay.
hear you,
You
Miriam.
can't.
Miriam, you're
Miriam,
frozen.
yeah, if you turn off your video for a minute and we can just hear your audio, sometimes that helps to reset.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Goes in and out.
but it's very sketchy.
Bill, can I co-host you just in case? Do you have a stable?
Sure. Yep.
Just in case.
Now we're hearing you more consistently, though.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying this election has brought out both, anger and excitement, depending upon, where we are. But it certainly has been an adjustment on everybody's part. There are a lot of feelings. Let me see if I can put my video back on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just let me know when that happens again, and I'll do that again. Yeah. I love what you said about radiant core, because we forget we have it.
Yeah, don't we? Whew.
Yeah. Okay. Who is next?
I can share. Hi, everybody. So I haven't been on this call in ages, like maybe a year even. And I love the Pathwork so much. And I think one of the things that keeps me away is I think that these end up on YouTube. Is that true? These, yeah.
I believe so. I am recording. Brian has asked me.
Yeah. So anyway, I find that distressing. Because the Pathwork just feels like such a safe space to be very real and very deep, and then to have it kind of available. I mean, yeah, just makes me very uncomfortable. But so yeah, this is the first time I've come in a long time, and I was asking myself, like, why now? And kind of obviously because of the elections. And yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. Sometimes I hear and read things that just really rock me to the core, just are so deeply distressing. And then I try to be very mindful about where I put my attention day to day, moment to moment, and it feels really important to me to feel informed. And so there's like a kind of a tricky line to, anyway. And there's so many wonderful places. I mean, it feels like a real opportunity to ask ourselves what really matters, what my values are, what kind of world I want to live in, what kind of world I want to be a part of creating. And but I still get pretty deeply upset about the hurts that are already happening and the fears of especially marginalized populations, and it, and just deeper fears, just very deep fears. And I'm taking a 4-part course on healing. I'm losing my voice. Healing Jewish ancestral trauma, and that seems like a good place for me to be looking and working right now. And and not that I feel targeted by this administration, but it sort of just brings up the ancient stuff. So that's a good bit of where I am right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah, it looked like it was freezing, and then I
You
realized
are, it is still it's still looking sketchy. You're sort of pixelating.
Well, let's see. I'm sorry. That sometimes I feel like that.
I think I do too.
Do you notice your feelings when you're, somebody
You're gone, Miriam.
Lost you again, Miriam. Oh, lost you again. Can't hear you.
Maybe you should just, maybe you could just try sticking with audio, because it seems to work when you're on the audio. We don't need to see you.
Oh, but it's nice to see you too. Miriam, I don't know if you're speaking, but we're not hearing you right now.
Or seeing you.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now we can. Okay.
There she is. Yeah.
Okay. We're not hearing you. If you're speaking, we're not hearing you.
Darn.
Darn. Mm.
All
Oh,
right. Hold on.
now we're hearing you.
You can hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I was saying that nothing is wasted in our experience.
Mm.
No matter, can you hear me? Otherwise, I'm considering going out and coming in again as long as Bill is holding the space.
We're hearing you now, but maybe if it happens one more.
Yeah.
I think it is possible to get in with just making a phone call, isn't it? Where that would probably be stable.
It's possible. Yes, I could. Let's try this. But let me go on with this thought before I lose it.
Yeah.
So, we are evolving as
We're losing you again. We're losing your audio, Miriam.
Okay.
So sorry.
Right. Go
I
out.
really want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll just hold the space. Miriam needs to check back in.
Okay.
I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately, and being past 70, it's like I feel like I'm called just hold space for something. You don't know what it's going to be, and it's one of those things like, well, if there's nothing else left and I don't really know what to do, just hold space.
It's so
Right.
nice. Beautiful.
I think Eckhart Tolle said some people are here just to hold a frequency, not to do anything, just hold a frequency. So anyway, back to you, Miriam.
Now you're on mute. You're muted.
I'll get this.
There we go.
Yeah. I feel like there is something that needs to happen, and it's coming to our awareness. I feel like it's worldwide. And what I've come to is that we have to learn to speak up. We see this over and over again. And we get, just look at history. People don't speak up, and they get caught up, and they're afraid, and we're afraid, and I'm afraid, and there are all kinds of self-recrimination because I'm not speaking up. And it's painful, but I feel like this is like right in our face. Speak up. Whatever your opinion is, come forward. That's the way I talk to myself. I mean, so I just wanted to share that.
I agree. It's so easy to be silenced by fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
I suppose I could go. I'm definitely on the discouraged and disgusted spectrum after the election. So much so that I honestly feel like I want to move to another country. The disappointment is just like off the charts. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I just don't see how we could drop the ball like that. I really don't.
Do you think that would help? If you were to move, where would you go?
Well, I would search for somewhere that was less divided, where the general sentiment of the population was less divided. I just honestly feel like we've been polluted. I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought that people would look at just the simple character of these two people and say, I think I'll choose the one who's actually on the side of brotherhood instead of the one that's on the side of victimhood. But I don't think people could see it that clearly the way I saw it.
And do you consider that somebody looking at the same thing might see it differently?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping in the back of my mind the lecture for today, which was about creating our life experience.
Well, I just feel like there's a kinder place for me to spend the rest of my days in this incarnation on this planet. There's a kinder place than this country is right now. And I'm in that frame of mind to start looking for it. I'm going to give it for 4 months here after he takes his oath and see what trajectory he heads off on. But after that, if things don't look like they're tolerable, I'm heading out.
It's a tough one. Hmm. Are you complete, Frank?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who's next?
Well, I can share. Well, right now, I feel very much connected to what Frank was saying and this feeling of being disappointed. And also looking at what kind of a lesson do I see in what is happening right now and what is causing my disappointment. What kind of lesson do I see I have to learn about myself and about my reactions, and also looking it at a little bit broader perspective, like what is happening to to an external circumstances and situations. So yeah, very much I'm resonating with that. And also like, what do I do? Like question, what do I do? And me feeling kind of grounded, like right now, it can change tomorrow, but right now I feel kind of heavy and grounded in a way. And maybe a little bit like wanting to maybe step back, like maybe slight sense of withdrawal, and not like connect and not to connect. It's like it's both. So it's a very unbalanced feeling. And with that, I do feel kind of grounded. So I don't know, I have this dualistic, how do I name it? Like dualistic perception, dualistic sensing what's happening. And then trying to anchor myself like in the moment, like what is right now for me? How is it right now for me? So.
Thank you, Seda. You know what keeps coming up for me as I'm listening to you all? These feelings that you have about the election. I'm just going to plant this thought. It's for everyone. Are they familiar feelings? Have you ever felt these feelings before in other stressful situations? Is it a replay? We can come back to that if you want, because we tend to go back to our stress feelings, and they tend to be, these are our patterns. Hello, Stephen.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm Miriam.
Hi, Miriam.
Okay, so let's see. I think Sheila, would you be? Are you next here?
I spoke.
No, you spoke first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone else who hasn't spoken?
Skylar,
I have.
Andy.
I can go.
Okay.
It's been quite a few months since I've last time I've been here, and for me, I guess it's kind of just hearing the election moods, and kind of I was a bit also disappointed. That was the first time I went voting actually, and it's interesting. But it made me kind of sort of what previously been spoken about, kind of reflect on what kind of how divided we are. At the same time, it's compared to the country I'm coming from, this is more of a thought of as a free country, where your thoughts and ideas are kind of openly spoken, and kind of you're encouraged to be, free speech, and kind of fight for your rights, and which is great. That's another part of this country that I admire, and but it's also this division. Yeah, it's just anger and kind of a separateness in people, and it's like I wish we could all see kind of there's more to it. There's a kind of see each other outside of the form, and beliefs and ideas at the same time. And that's another part that I'm working on myself too, is just, oh, this person voted for a wrong, for a wrong individual, so I'm not gonna talk to him or her, because that's what I see in social media along my classmates as well. It's just kind of taking on very much like a barrier between themselves and others that don't belong to the group they belong to. It's just, it's kind of perpetuates the anger more and more and division, and people just kind of start getting lost in it. I feel like I'm getting lost sometimes in it as well. I have to stop myself and kind of reflect on what Miriam just said, is like, what is it that triggers that in you, that anger? Like, what does it remind you of? Like when you were not seen or heard back when you were a child, or when just things are not, were not necessarily fair in the world. And yeah, it kind of makes me reflect on that more as well. And there's so many, I'm finding myself seeing so much of the self, like strong self of self in people, self-righteousness, and just that it kind of, again, it divides us more and more. And I'm working to just open myself up to be kind of that, like, lose my sense of self. In a way, it's a good thing. Just be sort of observer of things. And it's okay not to have a strong opinion about things. Just observe it and kind of be the presence. And maybe that's healing for other people too, like not like participate in that combat of the fights between one side or another, and just be like that individual who kind of step out of it and kind of just give it more space to breathe for others, so that hopefully it will calm the space down a little bit more. And I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting time, definitely. I hope we'll learn from it and heal and find strength. Yeah.
Yes, and yes, space for others and space for ourselves.
Mm.
Thank you, Skylar.
You.
Stephen, what we're doing is what's up for you? That's what we're doing.
First of all, I was about to raise my hand, and I don't know why it says on my computer, play chime for raised hands.
Don't do it.
I'm not surprised by what's happened. There's an economist that I was following some years ago, and he was looking at, like, he really analyzed the mood of people, and his paradigm was that the stock market really follows people's moods, and he would predict what would happen based on the way people's moods were going. And it was like maybe 10 years ago I read this. He felt that the United States would become a fascist state. He used a term harsher than fascist. I don't even want to say it. And I'm seeing this trend happening. And, I was very much against Trump the first two times, and I thought anyone's better than Trump. But I've also been watching the other side, the Democrats. I was very much thrilled with Bernie Sanders, and I saw, so I felt very upset about both sides. So I I also was very upset about the way COVID was handled. And I thought that, so I was really a big RFK fan. And so,
So Steve, can you name the emotion?
yeah, well, it's very mixed, because I felt hate for for the Democrat side. I really did. And so I was happy when Trump won, although I don't like him. I think he's very dangerous. And yet, right after the election, when I heard him spouting his nonsense about who he's picking and what he wants to do, I felt very anxious. And it was really triggering for me. I'm kind of getting more balanced now, but I find the world a very scary place.
Ah,
And it's not just the United States, it's all over.
okay. So here's a question for all of you. I don't know what is resonating with each person. Can you just close your eyes for a moment and feel the predominant emotion that's going through your body? You don't need to explain it. What does it feel like in you? Can you name one emotion? Find it in your body and just breathe. If you find that your mind is racing, that's okay. We have resistance to feelings sometimes. Just notice your belly. Notice how your heart feels, your mouth, your throat, your legs. Where are you tightening up? Any resistance to letting this feeling come to consciousness? Drop your shoulders. Find a word. All we want to do is know what is this that's happening in us when we go to explanations to cover up feelings. When you're ready, you just speak your word.
Mad.
Powerlessness.
Afraid.
Compassion.
Acceptance.
Grounded.
Lonely.
Struggling.
Let's see, Frank, did you want to, you had said already you felt discouraged and despair. Did you
I
want to
was
add?
I was going with the basic emotions: mad, glad, sad, and afraid. So I chose mad.
Okay,
Um, you know,
got it.
underneath all of that, I suppose I'm extremely sad about the outcome, but my I'm covering it up with anger, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We sometimes have this belief that if we acknowledge these feelings, that will sink into them.
Yeah, there's a hopelessness. I don't want to go down the hopelessness road. Uh, the sad takes a fork in the road where hopelessness is one of the choices, and I don't want to go down there.
So, um, so again, the lecture that we looked at, 181, was about creating our world. For one thing, you certainly create your outlook according to the guide. You create your outlook. And you also create your world, but sometimes the creation isn't clear, and sometimes it doesn't happen immediately. Um, it's to me, it's so important to find your voice. What do you need? What do you want? What do you yearn for? What do you yearn for? What is it?
Are you speaking to me or are you speaking to everyone?
It's kind of general, but you can speak if you have something to say.
Hmm. I think I yearn for, I mean, if I had to define it, a divine expression
So
in
divine, that would bypass who's got the grounded word, Seda. That would bypass the grounded aspect. If you go to, how do you get there without going under? Do you know? Does anyone know how we do that? Beth?
Well, I don't know if this might feel relevant. I was thinking of sharing, when I let myself feel my fear, and I always know to look for the earliest experience of it, because I know that and I went into this, like, yeah, my whole childhood, just like absorbing other people's fear, and the world was sort of learned, that the world was a very scary place. And then so then I had like thoughts of despair, like, but they were just thoughts, like, well, I'm never going to come out of fear, because it's always been there, and there's actually good reasons, because the world is so messed up. And then I said, oh, but I'm just here witnessing all of this, and we are all, we know we are all greater than our thoughts and our feelings. And it reminds me in the pathwork of like allowing ourselves to go into the abyss, like we used to in pathwork class, we used to like dive off of, I don't know, chairs onto mattresses, and allow ourselves to fall into there's something about the embodiment of an experience that really stays with me. Like falling into the abyss. And for me, sometimes I find that helpful, and then to say, wow, and I'm still here and I'm still witnessing. And when other people say compassion and grounded, I smile, like, oh, right, I know those things too, And so, yeah, that's That's what I feel like I've learned, and what has always worked for me is to allow myself to fall all the way in and to realize that I'm still okay, you know, for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Well,
Yes,
Um,
Stephen?
listen, I don't know. I'm new here. I don't know all the rules, so let me know if I'm out of bounds. But I'm wondering if I could ask Skylar a question.
Skylar, how do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, sure.
When you said acceptance, and I look at the expression on your face, I'm wondering if it's really acceptance or could it be resignation?
Hmm. Like sort of thing that I don't want to deal with that right now. Kind of
Okay.
feeling resignation, right?
Well, it's just that's just something to consider. That's all.
Um, I feel like
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean it's not that you don't want to deal with the question. I'm asking you don't want to deal with what's happening.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hi.
It's like resignation. I just wanted to clarify. Resignation kind of means that, like, a feeling of just not wanting to deal with all the political stuff and just deciding not like block myself off that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
kind of hide behind acceptance kind of thing. I see.
Yeah.
I think um I think the fact that I was actually willing to go, like actually did go vote and participate in this um for the first time, I think that actually meant something for me to do it. So I don't think I'm kind of like on the side of a resignation. I think I'm more of kind of trying to take a higher stand on that in a sense, that would help and free me and potentially more of the people that I'm around. But it kind of stepping stepping out of it, meaning like seeing it behind all of the ideas, that because we are, as humans, we're more than just what we believe. It's just that and what we stand for. I mean, I just want to see behind all that forms and shapes that we are taking on in this life. And it's just it's just kind of like, yeah, I just don't want to, like, not that I wasn't angry, I was sort of angry for a moment, but I'm quickly kind of used to, I guess, calming myself down and taking a different, taking myself out of it for a second, to like out of the woods, kind of looking at it from the other side. I don't know. I feel like there's some acceptance. I feel like there is some acceptance, Stephen. Like there is a, of course, a sense of unfairness and all of that, but I'm not super political person at the same time. I at the same time I realize that it's important to know, like, every single side of the story makes sense, how they came to that belief. I guess there's a background story, and you can spend forever researching it and trying to understand it, and everyone has their own base, and but like, yeah, we can either get lost in this and fight, or we can just kind of understand each other and just accept each other as a phenomenon. I don't know, and just kind of show love instead of hate in a way, kind of. That's a big leap from going from unfairness to all of a sudden love to everyone and everything, but even just yeah, I mean, just trying to move towards something that is more of a kind of a putting us together rather than apart. I think it's important.
You ever think about family? I don't mean family as in your sisters and brothers, but just the concept of every group that you enter is a replay of your family of origin. We recreate that, and even we go much bigger. We go, Pathwork group, neighborhood, each store you go into, each country you're in, like everything comes from the perception of this is family and this is my place in the family, and we keep recreating the same place that we're familiar with. This question occurred to me, and it might seem like a non sequitur. Is anger bad?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's important though to acknowledge. It's important not to be kind of powered, like overpowered by it, but it's important to acknowledge it. It's important to kind of observe your anger and as any other emotions that rise in you. I think anger would benefit only if it's out of love.
So
Like
there
love,
is a
powered
so
rather
there
than
is a positive anger.
I think, yeah, if you love, for example, and it's on the rare occasions when you love someone that you kind of you say certain things out of like anger because you think that person could do so much better and has so much potential, so there's a bit of a spurt of anger, but it's like a child and parent relationships kind of thing. When parent loves that child so much that like you can, you have such a full potential and expresses a bit of anger, but as long as that other person knows that it's powered by love, it's love based instead of hate fueled. And
And
that's my understanding of it.
right. Okay. Is there a positive anger? Does anyone remember any of the readings? Stephen, do you know?
Well, I don't know about the readings, but I know in A Course of Miracles, it says that everything that happens is either out of love or a call for love. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
so if you look at anger, it's a defense. So I would say if you could see at the root of the cause of the anger, it's always at its deepest root, um, in a sense, positive. Although words fail, I don't think that's quite accurate. But I mean, the source of everything is either, it can be negative, but even the negative is like, I know the Pathwork says that negativity is a distortion of positivity. I think Pathwork says something like that. So like there's negative pleasure and it's a distortion, but ultimately everybody wants to be loved. And that's the fear that we're not loved or that we're separate causes a lot of negativity. So you can find the root behind the anger and have compassion for it.
Can it not be a defense?
I just
Um,
wanted to point out that Sandy never got to share, and then she.
I was looking back, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. I was looking back and I was saying, I don't have that Sandy shared.
And she's had her hand up several times, so I think Sandy
I'm
needs to
sorry,
talk.
Sandy. Thank you. Thank you. Let me just finish this thought. Can anger not be a defense?
I suppose.
Now, this is for everybody. Just hold that in your mind. Can anger not be a defense? Sandy, I apologize. Speak to me.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, everyone. I actually, that was very useful. I went through just a whole gamut of feelings about not having voice, having shared. And yeah, that was very useful actually, but a little bit kind of overwhelming. And things, it was hard to know when to, like, how to and when to kind of jump in, and whether my moment had passed but I actually had a lot of things to say, and so I'm just going to try and get a couple out. This morning, I happened to see a YouTube video on someone talking about somebody completely unfamiliar. I usually don't see these things, but anyway, I saw someone who is maybe all of, or some of you know, who was talking about the election with someone else, and she had what seemed to me a really realistic point of view, but I'm going to go off into the weeds if I go on with that. Have been for the past couple of years experiencing a lot of family situation going on, and I'm seeing, really, with this election, with the whole situation with the country, and it's not just our country, it's all over the planet, and it's not just political, it's everything. And so I'm really seeing my family situation, like this morning I woke up feeling like, like what can I do? I mean, like kind of a whole mix of desperation and fear, and how can they not see this? How can they let this go on? And it's like almost a mirror to the situation politically. And so what came to me was that like with my family, I'm not any different from any of the family members. We each have our kind of iteration of the same thing. And I was thinking, if I could see this situation from like a different level. I mean, right now we're all in it, and we're all like kind of almost consumed by it, more or less. Saida, I think you're really lucky to be grounded, and Beth, you too, to be like so peaceful, to have that calm. So I really am envious. But if we were able to step back far enough, I think that there's something completely different going on than what we're like trying to address and grapple with. And I don't know what that is. And I think everything is happening for our own good, ultimately, even though that's really hard to take in and hard to live with. There's a different story going on. And just being in it, and I don't know, it's like, personally, I need a lot of detachment. And the other thing I was thinking is that this is like, it's like such a moment for our creativity, such a moment, like we're actually, like, it's like the Pathwork says, I think in maybe more than one lecture, but at least one, that we create we create what's going on. We create the whole thing, like in every single moment. There's so much creative possibility and potential. And anyway, I've probably said enough. I was just like, I was responding to everything that everyone said, and it was really hard to just like keep silent. So thank you for letting me open the valve a little bit. And
Yes, so the guide says we create for good or for bad, and most of it's unconscious. And that's why we try to learn, more what's going on inside of us. Beth?
To your question, is anger always bad, or is it always a defense? I love anger. I love getting in touch with my own anger because I have felt so disempowered so much of my life, and I love helping others get in touch with their anger. And I see anger as a defense of goodness, of justice, of, like anger fuels righteous action. Like I always think of Martin Luther King Jr. And when I listen to him, and I listen to recordings of him, and like he speaks with like the roar of a lion, and I feel like a very passionate, like anger, that says something is not right here, and I feel like we desperately need that. And I would say that is an anger that is in defense of innocence, in defense of goodness, that when people are being hurt, when people are being discriminated against, yes, it's a defense, it's a collective defense, the anger. And so I guess my question back to you is defense a bad thing? Because it, you know what I mean? I think defense, I know what you mean in the Pathwork way, like, we're defending against, like we're closing our hearts, but I think to defend righteously or justly, you know what I mean? To defend that all people deserve to be treated well it's a collective defense, and it's a positive thing,
And that's probably likely a relationship between the two angers. But it's the anger that it's a sign of life. It propels you forward.
Yeah. It's really back to what you were saying, is like that we need to speak up.
We need to find injustice.
Yeah.
We need to make space for ourselves. That's bottom line. If you don't make space for what's going on in you, you're not going to make space for anyone else. It's too challenging.
I think what's a tragedy right now is that everybody's angry in defense of something, and we're all angry in defense of something different, and that's creating the,
Yeah, Bill?
I'll speak to anger a little bit. I've been working with anger a lot this year, before the election even. And for me, anger has a lot to do with fear of losing control of any situation, whether the kitchen is being cleaned up the way I want it, or whether it's some driver is trying to cut me off, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's like, if I feel like I'm losing control, I can get angry. But I also just want to speak to the kind of the energetic current aspect of anger. Like if the intent is to free someone or free myself from some constricting state where I need to break out of this, or I need to protect someone, that's a different current for me than wanting to control or punish or get somebody, right? It's like, what really is the current that goes with that anger? And I think, Beth, you were saying, if the current is about protecting someone, and rather than punishing someone, it's maybe it's different. I don't know. And I also wanted to reflect, while I have the mic for a minute, on creating reality. So for me, the last, I don't know, 2, 3 years in particular, I have really noticed like a fundamental difference between my direct experience, which I include our meeting today as direct experience. I'm talking directly to one person or a few people in a safe place without, a lot of ideological stuff on the line. When I'm having a direct experience, it is always a place of kindness and consideration. It is always a place of respect and a lot of the times compassion. And I'm just noticing more and more when I pick up my device and I start reading something, I get into a whole different reality. It's like, what? They said what? They did what? And I'm realizing I'm receiving something that someone else has created. Right? I'm receiving it. I'm not directly experiencing it. And so more and more, I'm just like, I gotta trust my direct experience because 9 times out of 10, it's always good. So how can it be when 90% of the time when I have direct experience, it feels good, and like 90% of the time when I do this, it feels bad and angry. It's like I'm really having to go through a process of self-awareness. What am I reacting to? Right? What am I how am I experiencing this?
Mm.
And for me, that's been a saving grace. Like, the election was such a wallop of received experience. Like
Mm.
76 million people voted. What's wrong with those? Like, okay, all right. And then there was a guy in my men's group who, clearly was not on the wavelength with me on the election results. So I called him up. We went out. We had lunch, and it was great. We met 1-to-1, and he just told me what he was seeing, and okay, all right, I hear you, and it was fine. So I'm just looking. I find myself looking for ways for direct experience to get past that whole received experience world, because I do feel like there is the potential to create a lot more joy, compassion, peace, wherever we want. It's positive when it's like this, and as opposed to when it's like that. So that's my bit. I'm done.
The, the air is really dry here. Thank you. So I've been thinking about the anger thing, and maybe a better way to say it would be that there is clean anger and anger that's not clean. And the negative anger can do damage. I don't think clean anger can. I think it comes from the heart. Just my perspective. So, for the season, I wanted to take a few minutes and just share a little meditation. So let's just take a moment to find love in our bodies, in ourselves. Let's take a moment. This is not necessarily easy. Looking for a spark. Focusing on your heart. Noticing what happens if you can, when you find the spark, what happens? What happens in your body? What happens in your thoughts? Is there a refusal? Look at the refusal. That's okay to have a refusal. But even under that, there may be a spark. Are we willing to step out of the belief that there is no love? And what is love? Could it be an alignment with something bigger? We don't know what. But when we are in that alignment, do we feel love? What is it? Is it our radiant core, as had been expressed earlier? Is it just a light? Is it hope? Is it possibility? Is it space? All you need is a spark and the willingness to fan it, to breathe into it. You know, like a candle, or like a log, you light it. Maybe it feels like it goes out. You fan it. You breathe on it. And you see a glimmer of a light. You feel warmth. And we call the light, we call it love. That's just the word we choose. And then imagining this light, this love, this radiant core, imagine it growing, getting more and more brilliant. You can be that. You can choose to be that. It's a choice. Or you can choose to say it exists. I can go that way. I can step back because it's not safe. And be that frequency. It's just an energy frequency. I can allow it to radiate. I can allow myself to feel it in the parts of my body that I usually hold so tight. I can allow myself to recognize this light and this love and this warmth and this radiance in others. I can allow it if I choose to. Don't have to. My choice. I can allow myself to be in this place where there's this radiance. And from this place, relate to others. I can allow myself to know that as big as I am, as I am the earth, and the earth is me, and as big as I am so much bigger than this. There is no end to me. And if I am in this space and I breathe into this space, what is my impact? And what gets reflected back to me? And can I breathe love? Can I breathe softness, compassion? Can I be it? Am I it already? Can I be conscious of this burning desire to connect with everything? And so be it. It occurs to me to wonder how difficult it is for us to step into that place. How are you all doing? Stephen's having difficulty.
Oh, I open and close and open and close.
Oh, is that what you mean? So.
I can really open and then I get scared and close and then the thoughts come that what but the buts, the
Yes.
fear, and then I open and so I get a lot and I can really feel it and then I close.
Do you all resonate with that?
Mhm.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, when I use that language, that I can choose love and expand it and radiate it, what comes up is I feel unworthy. I feel all the guilt of all the badness and all the darkness in me, and sometimes I have a nice practice where I'll write that positive thing on one side of the page, and then I'll write out the negative and go back and forth, and it helps me to sort of clear it out. And I haven't done that in a while, so that was a beautiful meditation. It was a good reminder to do a little inner house cleaning.
We are powerful.
I think that the fear that comes up is not just, okay, I can't do it, but when we open up to the love is also bringing up what more there is to be loved.
Mm.
And the fear is to be loved, the darkness is to be loved.
This
And
concert I went to the week after the election, Bruce Cockburn has a song called Orders, in which he lists people from infants crying to corrupt priests to your best friend who just died or whatever. He just lists all these kinds of people. And then his refrain is, the list is long. As I recall, our orders said to love them all. That, I don't know, that really hit me in a good place right around then.
Yes.
Mm.
And what is the name of the song?
Orders by
What's
Bruce. Orders, as in marching orders. Bruce Cockburn, spelled Cockburn. He's a Canadian-born singer-songwriter.
William, in my the way I think of the things politically, I see the two sides fighting each other, and up on top are these elite. We have a few very powerful elite, and they enjoy getting us fighting each other. Now, the question I have is, it's easy for me to say, oh, okay, we're misdirecting our hate. We shouldn't be hating each other. We should be hating the elite, our common enemy. But then I say, well, that's no good. Can I love even them?
Mm, yeah.
Can I? Because they're
And what I've learned in this election is that there's a large number of people in this country who see me as the elite because I have a college degree and
you're not fake.
right.
Trust
So
me,
it is all the perceptions of whose fault it is. Just
you are not the elite. Trust me.
in
So,
somebody's eyes, apparently I am. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
slippery.
so I understand that Brian's way of ending is he stays on for another 15 minutes for those who want to hang around. But for the sake of YouTube, let us officially close and then we can hang around if you want. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so let us reach out again. Left hand palm facing up. We're seated in a circle. Right hand palm facing down. We are one. We are united. We are the universe. There is love underneath all the stuff that we try to hide it with. Let us remember how this feels as we go into a holiday season where masking is often demanded and we forget who we are. So let us just remember this feeling. We can take it with us. And so be it. You can let go.
Hmm.
So,
Thank
what's
you,
left?
Mary.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything that needs to continue?
I
Just
need to
wanted to
run. It's been
say,
great to be with you all.
Thank you,
I
Bill.
just,
Thank
I
you,
just
Bill.
wanted to say that I think that my anger, in terms of the love equation, is that I was longing for a divine expression of brotherhood to come forward in the outcome of the election. And when that didn't happen for me, I was really discouraged and sad. And my go-to expression of that is typically going to be anger. Eventually, I'm going to go past the anger into the sadness and deal with something down in there. But I really felt that our country needed to hold a candle up and say, this is the direction we want to take the world. And we didn't do it. We really let everyone down. That's how I'm feeling. We really let the world down. And that is not okay with me. At this moment, that's not okay with me.
I'd like to just say two things about that. One is I feel like maybe we haven't hit bottom yet. You know, like as much as I was genuinely optimistic about the outcome, I also had this sort of feeling of like we're here to be really deeply challenged and we're not done. We're not done with that piece yet, or this go around. And I sort of felt shock at, initial shock, and then kind of not surprised at all. Like this is what we're here for. And sometimes things have to get worse before they get better for people to really wake up, as painful as it is. And then the second thing I just want to share is I heard somebody, it might have been like a satire, say, only half joking, maybe we should let everybody, like what happens here does have so much impact. Maybe Seda, you could speak to that too. Has so much impact worldwide. Maybe we should let the whole world vote in our elections. I thought that was an interesting idea.
Would the whole world not vote in our election?
Yeah, to let the whole world vote in the U.S. elections.
Oh, to let them vote.
Let them vote in our elections, because we do have a big impact. And,
Yes, indeed.
and wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. Till next time, everyone.
Hmm.
Good night. Good
Mm.
afternoon.
Good night,
Yeah.
Peter.
Day, whatever you want to call it. I suppose it might be nighttime where Saida lives.
Yeah, it's I think it's 6:30 in the evening.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's dark.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
not
dark
bad.
already, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's 6 hours of difference, right? Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. That would be right. Yeah. Wow. Well, have a nice evening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Miriam, I want to hear more about my neighbor.
I know, isn't that funny? But we can stop.
But Sandy, I also was noticing, I just want you to know, I was also noticing that you hadn't shared, and I was like really wanting to hear from you.
Yeah,
I want you to know.
it occurred to me as we moved on that I wasn't sure I had heard from you, and then when you said what was the one feeling, and I went to jot the feeling down, I didn't have your name, which meant you hadn't spoken.
Yeah, really, that was so interesting. That was so educational. It was beyond me. It's like graduate studies, and I'm still in